Did you have Jordan Peterson's daughter living with you?
Okay. So,
okay. I heard that from somewhere. I didn't know.
she wasn't living with me. She came to visit me in Romania.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you know what's happening with him? Everyone was worried about him. I mean, everyone who listens to this show is.
I do know what's happening with him. So I don't want to say any more than what she said publicly. I think she's already said this publicly. Okay. So he started taking an anti-anxiety drug when his wife got ill, and then he's really struggling to come off the drug. He's become addicted to the drug and it's fucking with his head. Yeah. And I was kind of saying to Michaela, because she came out to visit me, and we don't have to tell the story of what happened there. Everyone can come to their own conclusions. But I was kind of like,
cheeseburgers.
No.
Yeah, they watched House together.
I say I'm a fan of your father's, and he's a good guy, but you're preaching mental toughness, and then you're taking a drug to change your mind when things get hard in life. And I'm super against that as an individual. I'm super against like antidepressants and things. I know some people say they help them and they work. Maybe they do, but the idea of taking a pill that changes the way my mind works is scary to me.
Me too.
And I think it's always better to have your own mind as it is before you start taking fucking pills.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened to Peterson now. He can't come off these pills, and he's a complete mess. He's suicidal. He's all completely fucked up. So it's like, but I don't know why you started taking them in the first place. Like, just, life gets hard and bad things happen, but you just have to have that kind of frame where you deal with it, and it is what it is,
Yeah, I had that opinion too. Like, man, I feel bad that you're addicted to these things, but you've been telling people how to change their lives, and it's kind of fucked that this is like, that's a little bit fucked that you've done that.
Because he has an education. He has an education in how you should deal with things in a healthy manner, and he should have the tools. And I'm not in his head
telling people.
I'm not in his head.
This is my point. Yeah, he's a hypocrite now. This is the thing, and this is what I was saying to her, and she was like, "Oh, but he's really struggling." And me and her had a semi-argument because my point was, listen, there is no person alive, you, me, anyone else, who's going to enjoy a life without any kind of hardship. Everyone we love is going to die, or we're going to die first. Like, welcome to the real world. And the reality of the human condition is that we're not designed to be permanently happy. I think this is one of the biggest problems with the world nowadays, is that everyone has this idea that they should be happy all the time. I fucking think so. This whole idea that you should be permanently happy is false. And that's why people end up on these drugs, because I don't understand why I'm not happy. Because you're not supposed to be happy all of the time. Welcome to the real world. You're a human. It's perfectly fine to get pissed off, but you should just deal with it as an adult. And that's really a big Western thing. Like out here in Eastern Europe and stuff, no one takes that crap. Like the whole idea of it is just, it doesn't exist at all. And when you try and explain how many people in the West are medicating themselves for basically no reason, they don't believe you. They're like, what? Why? Well, unhappy. Why? Because of their job? Well, everyone has stress at work. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's just a different mindset. So and he's now a horror story of it, because like you said, he's supposed to have all the tools. And he started taking them, and now he's trying to slit his own wrists. So crazy.
What was he taking?
Benzos?
I can't remember the name of the drug. It was an anti-anxiety drug.
I don't really know anti-anxiety drugs.
And this is another thing I was talking to Michaela about, because she was telling me about all these other she was very, very specific with her conditions, like anxiety and this kind of disorder and that kind of anxiety disorder. And she was very, very specific. And I was telling her a story. So because her and her father have analyzed the mind so much, they think they understand it to such a point. And it reminded me of a story. When I was a fighter, the other guy at the gym who was as good as me, he went to university to study osteopathy or something. And when he started learning a lot more about the human body, every time he'd get hurt, he'd start saying, I've damaged. He'd be very specific with what he's damaged and all this shit. And I was like, bro, the old you would just get on with it. You get hurt and you just fight.
You can get bogged down.
Now you know what it is, and you're being very specific about it. And now you're like adjusting your training to not hurt this tendon. And it's like the more you analyze it, the bigger of a pussy you become. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does make sense. It does make sense.
It's like giving the pain a personality. It's like giving your hardships, it's like creating a monster out of something that was, just part of life.
Well, and people...
giving it a personality.
Everybody's got a little hypochondriac in them, too. Yeah. So if you start getting real specific with things, then it opens a door to you kind of almost your brain's manifesting those things, and you do feel like shit.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I understand.
And that's my point, because she was so specific with her father and his condition. They were so specific. I was like, look, the way you're even talking about this, you're making it worse. Like my mental conditions are, I feel good, I feel bad. Like, you don't need to dig into the bad for 20 years. Like, well, who gives a shit? You're happy or you're not.
It's like
it
this.
is what it is. And I think they made it worse for themselves by going down that route. And now he's a complete mess and they completely fucked it up. And it is what it is. But I tried to have a little bit of sympathy, but she was very unhappy with my point of view on it all. But I just tried to explain to her, look, you know, it's sitting there and self-analyzing. And he took a very specific drug because of this very specific type of anxiety, blah, blah, blah.